Walking myself to the finish line. My action research project for Azusa Pacific University, EDUC 526. Once upon a time, I would have considered myself healthy. I used to make smarter eating choices, participated in sports, and tried to stay healthy. But this has not been the case for a few years now. For the last few months, as I complete the last of my classes for my master's degree, I've given serious thought about how I would get back into shape. As I contemplated this thought, I was also trying to come up with an idea for my action research project. A conversation with my brother united my two dilemmas. My brother has been and still is an athlete. He has competed in sports at the high school, college, and semi-professional levels. I was commenting on how I wish I had stayed as active when he suggested I try the slow triathlon he competes in every year. I thought a slow marathon sounded perfect for a beginner, especially one that hasn't been particularly active. However, slow turned out to be an acronym for San Luis Obispo, not the speed the race was run. Despite this mistake, I was intrigued about the idea of competing in it. The race is called a sprint, and it is a fraction of a traditional triathlon. It's broken up into 3 sections. The first is a half-mile swim, versus the 2.4 miles of an Ironman. Next comes about a 15-mile bike ride, almost 100 miles less than the traditional race. And then finally, there's a 3.5-mile run, which is not even a quarter of the 26.2 miles of a full marathon. My hope is that this race will lead to more in the near future. I want very much to be able to participate in Temecula's Zombie Run later this year, as well as one of the Spartan Mud Runs this fall, and hopefully eventually be able to walk in Avon's 2-day, 39-mile walk against breast cancer. For the purposes of this project, I will be limiting my research and results to the last leg of this race. My goal is not to win or to place, but rather to just finish it. Here's my problem. For the last 18 months, I've gone from being a moderately active adult to one that is almost completely sedentary. This has contributed to an almost 50-pound increase in weight in that relatively short period of time. Additionally, because I have a history of spraining or twisting my ankle, I have to be especially careful that this extra weight won't contribute to a new injury. Research on this subject began with online sites which seemed to indicate that one did not have to be a super athlete to get started in this sport. This led to the purchase of these 5 books. Because of time restraints, I focused on chapters that were relevant to my predicament, namely an unfit newcomer. And all of the experts had similar advice. Start off slowly, keep a journal to track progress, and no excuses. This was the plan. I would start off slowly and increase the number of steps until I can walk 3.5 miles without difficulty, and eventually add a walk-run method recommended by some of the experts. I would also keep track of my distance and other relevant training notes on my MyPlate app, which also tracks my nutrition. To get my mind and body prepared for training, I started with the modest 30 minutes of walking a day. I was surprised to see how easy this was and even walked over my goal twice that week. Next, I purchased a pedometer to keep track of the number of steps I was taking. My goal was to walk 5,000 steps a day, which is the recommended number for maintaining weight. I quickly discovered a disparity between steps I had taken when I was at work or out of the house when compared with steps I took when I was at home studying or otherwise preoccupied. Not only was I taking more steps by not being at home, I was more motivated on those days to walk more when I saw that I was already close to my goal. I found that recording the information also helped me stay motivated. I switched over to Fitbit because it not only kept track of the number of steps I was taking, but also kept track of the miles I was walking, which was the end goal of the study. My new goal was to walk 10,000 steps, the recommended amount to start losing weight. But I only met this goal once and only came close to meeting it one other time. While I dislike making the excuse that I was studying, this is the reason. Indeed, many of the days I didn't even meet my 5,000 step goal. However, with the exception of 2 days, I did find the time to go outside and walk a little bit. When viewed in graph form, the red lines, or days I was out of the house, outnumber the days I stayed home exclusively. It really does seem so obvious that given the opportunity, I can be active. In fact, one can see that I walked more often on those days. What I learned is that I have to get off the couch and go outside. Tracking my activity was extremely helpful, not only for motivation, but also to see where I had gone wrong in my training. As soon as I'm done with this course, I'm pulling my treadmill out of the garage and signing up at my local gym to continue my training. I'm still nervous about the race next month, but if I keep adding to my routine, I should be able to complete the race one step at a time.